Don't care what the world said about you. I don't care about your past. What I care about is this. Are you ready to break your limits and build a legacy that speaks long after you're gone? Because listen to me, you were not born to just exist. You were born to dominate. You were born to transform. You were born to leave footprints on eternity. You're not born with limits. You were taught them. From the moment you open your eyes in this world, you're absorbing ideas, energy, beliefs, and expectations from the people around you. And most of the time, what they give you isn't freedom, it's fear. It's restriction. It's a boxed-in version of what they think you can do. That box becomes your reality. That limitation becomes your identity. But let me tell you something. They lied to you. They didn't mean to, but they lied. Limits are not written in your DNA. Limits are not embedded in your blood. Limits are passed down through words, through examples, through what people didn't do, through what they were too scared to attempt. The people you admired, your family, your friends, your teacher, your community, they showed you what was a normal, and anything outside of that became impossible. So you grew up believing that maybe you weren't smart enough. Maybe you weren't athletic enough. Maybe success wasn't for people like you. Maybe dreams were for people on TV, but not people in your situation. But let me wake you up. None of that is real. It feels real because it's been repeated. It feels real because you've seen it over and over. But it's a program, not a truth. And if it was programmed in, then guess what? It can be reprogrammed out. You can't break limits until you recognize them. And once you do, you've got a decision to make. Either you keep living inside the box someone else built, or you break out and build your own world. I need you to understand something. Just because something has never been done in your family, your school, your neighborhood, or your culture doesn't mean it can't be done. It just means you have the opportunity to do it first. And I get it, being first is scary. Being first means no blueprint. Being first means walking into the unknown. But being first also means freedom. Being first means leadership. Being first means you become the example that others will follow. You can't let your past become a prison. And you can't let someone else's fears become your ceiling. People will always try to give you their limitation. You say you want to start a business, and they'll tell you the market's too competitive. You say you want to lose weight, and they'll tell you you've always been big. You say you want to graduate, and they'll bring up how nobody else in the family did it. But that's not on you. That's on them. That's their limitation, not yours. You got to stop borrowing other people's doubts. You know what I've learned? Most people aren't afraid of failing. They're afraid of succeeding, because success means responsibility. Success means showing up every day and proving those limits wrong, even when it's hard. Success means working when you're tired, believing when you're empty, pushing when you're broken. But that's what separates the great from the average. The greats break the mental chains. The greats say, I don't care how it's always been. Care about how it could be. Your mind is your most powerful weapon or your biggest trap. If you fill it with limits, you will live a limited life. But if you train it to believe, to stretch, to push past boundaries, there's no wall that can hold you. See, the body will always follow the mind. You don't run the mile with your legs. You run it with your belief. You don't start the business with money. You start it with a dream. You don't change your life with circumstances. You change it with a decision. You've got to go deep inside yourself and uproot every lie you've ever been told. Uproot the belief that you're not good enough. Uproot the belief that success is for someone else. Uproot the belief that your past defines your future. You've got to get rid of that junk, because as long as you carry it, it will weigh you down. You can't fly while dragging anchors. You can't run while carrying chains. Let it go. There's something powerful about believing in your own voice, in your own vision, in your own path. But you can't believe unless you first unlearn the disbelief. You've got to rewrite your script. Start telling yourself new things. Tell yourself, I am capable. I am chosen. I'm ready. I am not what happened to me. I am what I decide to become. You got to say it until your soul believes it, because once belief hits your bones, no limit can contain you. You got to get tired of being stuck, tired of being overlooked, tired of being underestimated, tired of hearing no and thinking it's final. No is not the end. It's the beginning. It's the invitation to rise. Limits don't break on accident. Limits break when you make a choice to push beyond them. When you wake up every single morning and say, I'll stay where I've been. I will go where I was born to go. And don't wait for someone to rescue you. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't wait for permission. You are the rescue. You are the permission. You are the timing. You are the one. Nobody is coming. This is your moment. This is your life. This is your time to stop shrinking and start rising. They told you, stay safe. They told you, play it smart. But smart doesn't build dreams. Safe doesn't change the world. Playing small doesn't break records. You want to be remembered. You want to be legendary? Then you've got to do something unreasonable. Something that makes people look at you like you're crazy. Until it works, then they'll call you a genius. They'll call you brave. They'll say, I always knew you could do it. But you'll know the truth. They didn't believe in you. You believe in you. And that's what made all the difference. You were not created to blend in. You were not designed to repeat the past. You are here to break cycles. You are here to shatter ceiling. You are here to redefine what's possible for everyone who looks like you, talks like you, comes from where you come from. You are here to be a disruptor, a trailblazer, a legend. But it starts in the mind. It starts with what you believe about yourself when nobody else watches. It starts when you decide that enough is enough, that you're no longer okay with average, that you refuse to let your potential rot in comfort, that you're going to stand up, speak up, and show up like the giant you are. You weren't meant to live a limited life. You were meant to break the mold. But the world won't hand it to you. You got to take it. You got to earn it. You got to fight for it like your life depends on it. Because it does. The life you want is on the other side of those limits. The version of you dream about, they're waiting behind that wall. So stop staring at it. Stop talking about it. Stop blaming it. Break it. Break every limit, every lie, every mental chain. Because once you break through that, the world becomes wide open. And when the limits are gone, the legacy begins. You can't build a skyscraper with excuses. You can't construct greatness on a foundation made of I coulda, or shoulda. Excuses are the language of the average. They are the anthem of the defeated. When you're chasing legacy, real legacy, you don't have time to make excuses. You don't have the luxury of waiting for the perfect moment, the right conditions, or someone else's approval. You either get it done or you don't. That's it. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. Nobody cares about your excuses. Harsh truth, but it's real. The world doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. The people who leave their names etched in history aren't the ones who almost did it. They're the ones who actually showed up. The ones who did it scared, who did it tired, who did it without applause, who did it when everything inside them was screaming to quit. Excuses are seductive. They sound good. They comfort you when you're under pressure. They protect your ego. They shield your pride from pain. But they also trap your potential. They lock up your progress. They convince you that comfort is safer than courage. And little by little, you start to accept a life that's smaller than the one you were built for. You know what's really going on when you make an excuse. You're trading your power for a lie. You're saying, oh, this external thing is bigger than my internal drive. You're saying, I don't control my future. Circumstances do. But that's not true. That's a mindset you gotta kill. Because as long as you believe that your situation has more authority than your decision, always stay stuck. Listen, I get it. Life is hard. Things happen. You didn't get the support you needed. You weren't born with resources. You were overlooked, underestimated, maybe even mistreated. But guess what? That's not an excuse. That's your advantage. Because people who've had it easy don't develop the same fire. They don't learn to fight the same way. If you've been through struggle, then you've been through training. You got something they don't. You've got grit. You got hunger. You got a reason. But hunger means nothing if you feed the excuses. You say, I want to change my life. But then you say, I'm too tired. You say, I want to be successful. But then you say, I don't have time. You say, if I want to break generational curses. But then you say, I'll start next week. That contradiction is killing your progress. That back and forth is why you're not growing. Because every excuse is a brick in the wall that separates you from your greatness. You think legacy is built on motivation? No, it's built on movement even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Anybody can show up when it's easy, but the ones who change the game are the ones who show up when it's painful, when it's inconvenient, when it's lonely. They choose discipline over distraction. They choose action over excuses. Every single time. Let me break it down for you. Excuses are dream killers. They disguise themselves as logic. They wear the mask of justification, but underneath they are poison. You don't need to justify your stagnation. You need to attack it. You need to stop explaining why you're not where you want to be and start doing what it takes to get there. Because here's the truth. Your dream doesn't care how you feel. Your dream only responds to your grind. And don't get it twisted. Everyone has excuses, even the best of the best. The difference is they don't live in them. They acknowledge the obstacle, then they overcome it. They don't say, I can't. They say, how can I? That question shifts everything. That question opens the door to solution. That question silences the victim and awakens the victor. You've got to get so focused on the result that the excuse becomes irrelevant. You've got to want it so bad that no excuse can survive in your atmosphere. You've got to train your mind to reject the easy way out, to reject blame, to reject delay. Because every time you choose an excuse, you're saying no to progress. Every time you let yourself off the hook, you're letting go of the future you deserve. And don't mistake this for shame. This is power. You're not weak for making excuses. You're human. But now that you're aware, you're responsible, you've got to take ownership. Full, complete, no holds barred ownership. That means no more pointing fingers. No more waiting for the right time. No more blaming your environment, your life. Own your choices. Own your outcome. Because when you start owning everything, you also gain control over everything. That's how you build a legacy. You build it by refusing to bow down to comfort. You build it by doing the hard thing that others won't. You build it by making sacrifices most people avoid. And yes, it costs, but so does regret. So does mediocrity. So does looking in the mirror years from now, knowing you let excuses rob you of your greatness. You want to know the real secret? Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they give up too soon. And they give up because the excuses become louder than the vision. They lose sight of what they're chasing and start listening to the noise. They forget why they started. Don't let that be you. You've got to wake up with purpose and go to bed with intention. You've got to kill the excuses before they kill your momentum. Every time your mind tries to give you an out, push back. When it says you're tired, tell it, I'm built for this. When it says you don't have enough, tell it, I'll find a way. When it says you failed before, say, then I've learned, now I'm stronger. Excuses want to keep you average, but you weren't born for average. You were born for average. You were born to lead, to build, to impact. You were born to leave a legacy that echoes long after you're gone. That kind of legacy doesn't come cheap. It doesn't come easy. It comes through blood, sweat, tears, and a refusal to let excuses stand in your way. So here's the challenge. Starting today, eliminate every excuse from your vocabulary. No more if only, no more I can't, no more someday. Replace it all with a let's go. Replace it with action. Replace it with effort. Replace it with results. Because once you do that, something shifts. Your mind sharpens, your confidence grows, your pace quickens, and before you know it, you're becoming unstoppable. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. You stopped negotiating with your dream and started demanding results. And that's when everything changes. That's when you go from wishing to winning. That's when you go from potential to purpose. That's when you stop living at the level of excuses and start operating at the level of excellence. So the next time life gets tough and your mind starts searching for a reason to quit, remember this. You can have results or you can have excuses, but you can't have both. Choose wisely. Your legacy depends on. You don't need to build it all in one day, but you do need to lay a brick every day. That's how real legacy is built. Not in one big moment, not with one giant leap, but through the relentless, consistent choice to show up and put in work, brick by brick, moment by moment. See, the world celebrates outcomes. It praises the trophies, the plaques, the grand openings, and the headlines. But legacy isn't found in the spotlight. Legacy is crafted in the dark. It's built in those early mornings, those late nights, those quiet hours when no one is watching and no one is clapping. The problem is, too Too many people quit because they don't see immediate results. They start building something, whether it's a business, a career, a family, a dream, and after a few days or a few weeks or even a few months, they look around and they don't see progress. So they assume it's not working. But let me tell you something. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. You don't plant a seed and dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, you nurture it, you trust the process. Every great structure you've ever seen was built one piece at a time. You don't look at a skyscraper and think about the concrete that was poured, the steel beams lifted, the months of dirt, sweat, and plans that went into it. You just see the finished product. But the builders, the legacy builders, they remember every brick they laid. They remember every day they showed up. They remember the effort, the pain, the discipline, because it was the small daily actions that made the big picture possible. And that's what you gotta understand about your dream. It won't come all at once. It won't be delivered to you overnight. There's no fast track to impact. There's no shortcut to excellence. The only way to get there is to lay your brick every single day. Lay your brick in your health. Lay your brick in your craft. Lay your brick in your character. Lay your brick in your relationship. Lay it whether you feel like it or not. Lay it whether people acknowledge it or not. Because the brick is your responsibility. The structure will come later. And don't make the mistake of thinking your brick is too small to matter. Every day you show up, every time you give effort, every decision to stay consistent, it all adds up. But when you stop showing up, when you stop laying bricks, the foundation cracks. And legacy requires a strong foundation. You can't build anything lasting on inconsistency. You can't build a name that lives beyond your lifetime on laziness. You can't pass on greatness if you're only working when it's convenient. It's about stacking days. Stack enough solid days, and you'll build something unshakable. Stack enough intentional choices, and you'll shape a reputation that speaks louder than any words. Because people don't remember what you said, they remember what you did. They remember how you lived. They remember your actions, your discipline, your energy, your sacrifice. And all of that starts with the brick you laid today. There's no magic formula. You don't need perfection. You need persistence. The question is not, can you build something great? The question is, can you keep building when it's boring? Can you keep going when it's quiet? Can you keep going when it's quiet? Can you push through the days when you feel stuck? That's what separates those who dream from those who build. Because dreaming is easy. But bricklaying, that's hard. That's work. That's getting up when you're tired. That's doing it right even when nobody would know if you didn't. That's integrity. That's legacy. It's easy to be excited on day one. Everyone shows up fired up when the vision is fresh and the idea is new. But legacy isn't about the first day. It's about day 10, day 100, day 1,000, when the excitement is gone, but the purpose is still alive. That's when you find out who's really serious. That's when the bricklayers separate themselves from the talkers. Because while others quit because they can't see the finish line, the builder keeps showing up because they understand. Today's brick is the only thing that matters. And here's the truth. There will be days when the brick feels heavy. Days when you feel like what you're doing doesn't matter. Days when the work is exhausting and thankless. But those are the most important days. Those are the days that define who you become. Those are the days that forge your legacy. Because anyone can lay bricks when it's easy. But laying bricks when it's hard, that's character. That's greatness. And don't think for a second that anyone gets to skip this process. I don't care how talented you are, how lucky you are, or how much potential you have. You don't get to build anything lasting without effort. You don't get to leave a legacy without laying bricks. There are no exceptions. There's no elevator to legacy. You got to take the stairs, one step at a time, one brick at a time. So, if you're sitting there waiting for some sign to go all in, this is it. This is your sign. Start today. Lay your brick. Don't try to build the whole house. Don't stress about the blueprint. Just lay your brick and lay it well. Give it your full focus, your full energy, your full heart. Then show up tomorrow and do it again and again and again. Because years from now, when people look at what you built, they won't see every brick, but you will. You'll remember the days you wanted to quit, but did. You'll remember the mornings you got up early and the nights you stayed up late. You'll remember the sacrifice, the grind, the heart you put into every single brick. And when you look at what you built, when you see the legacy standing tall, you'll know it wasn't one big move that did it. It was a small daily decision to never stop laying bricks. The enemy of legacy is inconsistency, and inconsistency is born from impatience. We live in a world that wants everything fast. Fast results, fast success, fast progress. But true greatness, that's slow cooked. That's built over time. That's shaped in the fire of discipline. It's not flashy, it's not trendy, but it lasts. So while the world chases hacks and shortcuts, you stay the course. You focus on the process, you master the mundane. Because legacy isn't about being loud, it's about being lasting. And lasting comes from laying your brick with care every single day. Don't compare your building to someone else's. Their bricks are not your bricks. Their journey is not your journey. You've got your own material, your own foundation, your own structure to build. Stay in your lane. Keep your head down and your heart up. Because your job isn't to be seen, it's to build. The results will speak for themselves in time. And if you ever feel like giving up, ask yourself, what happens if I lay this brick today? What happens if I choose just one action, one movement, one step forward? That's it. That's the game. Because that one brick might be the one that holds everything together. That one choice might be the one that shifts your entire life. You are building something powerful, something bigger than yourself, something that will speak long after you're gone. But it starts today with this brick. So pick it up, place it strong, and get ready to build something unforgettable. Brick by brick, day by day, decision by decision. This isn't about being better than the next person. This isn't about trying to outrun somebody else, outshine somebody else, or prove somebody else wrong. This is about becoming the best version of you. It's about dominating your space, your lane, your assignment, your purpose. Too many people waste their energy comparing, competing, and measuring themselves against others, when the real game is personal excellence. It's not about winning a race against someone else. It's about breaking your own records, outgrowing your old mindset, and becoming the person you were born to be. See, when you focus on competition, you lose clarity. You start watching other people's moves, studying their progress, analyzing their path. And in doing that, you forget your own. You're not here to follow somebody else's blueprint. You're not here to walk their walk, or chase their dream. You're here to own your gift, maximize your potential, and run your race. You'll never dominate while you're distracted. You'll never create while you're copying. You'll never lead while you're looking sideways. Dominance starts when you realize that your only competition is who you were yesterday. That's it. That's the person you gotta be. That's the one you gotta push. If you wanna level up your life, stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop scrolling their highlight reel and start building your reality. Get locked in on your mission. Get obsessed with your purpose. Because when you go all in on your talents, your growth, your vision, that's when you become unstoppable. Now listen, competition can be fuel. It can be the spark. It can wake you up. But it should never be the foundation. If you only move when someone else is at, he'll always be reacting. Legacy isn't built on reaction. It's built on responsibility, on owning your path, on grinding every day because that's who you are, not because someone else is watching. You don't need to compete when you know your calling. When you're clear on why you're here, you stop chasing trends and start building truth. You don't need to do what's popular. You need to do what's purposeful. And when you do that long enough, when you stay faithful to your own development, you start creating things that nobody else can replicate. You become original, you become legendary, not because you followed the crowd, but because you focused on what only you can bring. You got to understand nobody else has your exact combination of fame, experience, perspective, and purpose. You are one of one. So stop trying to fit into somebody else's mold. Stop dimming your light just to keep up with someone who's not even running your race. If you keep comparing yourself to others, you'll either get arrogant or insecure. But if you keep comparing yourself to who you were last week, last month, last year, you'll get better. That's growth. That's maturity. That's legacy thinking. And let's be honest, most people who compete aren't even committed. They're loud, they're flashy, they talk big, but they don't have the stamina to keep going when it gets hard. And if you're always watching them, you'll start to believe that noise equals greatness. But real greatness is quiet. Real greatness is consistent. Real greatness doesn't have to prove. It produces. You don't need to compete with noise. Just stay consistent with your work. Time always exposes the truth. When you dominate your space, you elevate others too. This isn't about tearing anybody down. This is about being so excellent, so focused, so authentic that people can't help but be inspired by your discipline. That's real leadership. That's influence. And the world doesn't need more people who are trying to win a fake race. The world needs people who are real, people who are relentless, people who are rooted in purpose, rooted in process, rooted in progress. Don't misunderstand this. Dominating doesn't mean being perfect. It means being relentless. It means showing up again and again with intentionality. It means being your biggest critic and your loudest cheerleader. It means holding yourself to a standard that doesn't depend on how you feel that day. When you dominate, you don't need external motivation. You got an internal engine. You've got vision. You've got discipline. You've got self-respect. And those things don't quit. People ask, how do I stay consistent? You stop making it about competition and you start making it about commitment. You stop saying, I have to, and you start saying, I get to. You get to wake up with purpose. You get to show up with fire. You get to put in work that builds a legacy. And when you realize that, your gratitude fuels your grind. You stop being a slave to motivation and you become a master with discipline. And discipline is the key because talent fades. Motivation fades, but discipline, that stays. That carries you through the boring days. That pushes you through the tired days. That reminds you that this isn't about feelings. It's about finish lines. It's about building something that lasts. And nobody builds legacy by only showing up when it's easy. Legacy comes from domination of your schedule, your habits, your mind. You gotta dominate your mornings, dominate your thoughts, dominate your decision. Not because you wanna be somebody else, but because you wanna respect your own potential. You wanna show your creator, I took the gift you gave me and I maximized it. You wanna look in the mirror and say, I left nothing on the table. I gave everything. That's the mindset. That's how champions think. That's how legacy is built. Let me tell you something. There's a difference between being successful and being significant. Anybody can chase success, but only the discipline, the focus, the purpose-driven become significant. And significance comes from domination, from going so deep into your lane that you master it, from refusing to coast, from refusing to settle for average, from living like every day matters because it does. And you gotta protect your energy. When you stop competing, you stop wasting time watching people who aren't even walking your path. You reclaim your hours, your focus, your life. You get laser sharp. You learn more, you build more, you grow faster, you rise higher. Because your time is no longer spent watching. You're working. You're no longer chasing. You're creating. You don't need to rush. You don't need to race. You just need to rise. Rise every day and do what you were born to do. And that might look different from what others are doing. That's fine. Let them do them. You do you. Because your future doesn't depend on their approval. It depends on your actions. So from this day forward, stop asking, am I doing better than them? And start asking, am I doing better than me? Stop saying, look at how far they've come. And start saying, look at how far I've come. And don't you dare let anyone rush your process. Don't you dare let someone else's highlight reel make you doubt your quiet progress. Because greatness is a marathon, not a sprint. And you're still in the race. You're still rising. You're still building. And the only one you gotta beat is the one looking back at you in the mirror. Dominate that person. Train that person. Train that person. Push that person. And I promise you, if you do that every single day, legacy won't be a dream. It will be your reality. Because you weren't built to compete. You were built to dominate. When you reach the point in life where you're ready to break limits and build a legacy, you must understand this truth. Nothing truly changes until your mindset changes. Your legacy starts in your mind. Every great person that has ever walked the earth, from entrepreneurs to athletes, from civil rights leaders to artists, they all started with a shift in mindset. They believed they were more than their circumstances, more than their current situation, more than what others told them they were. And that's exactly where you need to start. You've got to reprogram your thinking if you want to change the outcome of your life. You can't expect to build something great while thinking average. You can't build a legacy with a limited mindset. Your vision can't be global if your thinking is local. Everything you're doing right now, every move, every word, every decision is rooted in your thinking. If you believe you're too small, you won't take big steps. If you think you're not enough, you won't push to go further. If you constantly tell yourself it's too hard, you'll never fight to win. But if you tell yourself you're capable, if you speak into your own life like a champion, if you think like a warrior and dream like a king, then nothing, absolutely nothing can stop you. Your thinking sets the foundation for your future. The internal dialogue you entertain daily becomes the reality you wake up to. So what are you saying to yourself? What are you feeding your mind? Your mind is a battlefield. It's where the wars won or lost before anything physical ever happens. And the world is constantly feeding you distractions, doubts, and lies. That's why you gotta be intentional about guarding and growing your mindset. If your thoughts are filled with fear, comparison, jealousy, and insecurity, you're already setting yourself up to lose. But if your thoughts are filled with faith, focus, discipline, and hope, you're laying bricks for a powerful legacy. This is not about motivation. This is about transformation. You're not trying to hype yourself up for a moment. You're trying to rewire the way you process life permanently. And let me be clear, this is not easy. It requires work. It means waking up early to journal, pray, meditate, or read something that feeds your soul. It means being selective with who you hang with and what you expose yourself to. It means you no longer entertain small talk, small thinking, or small environments because you know your legacy can't afford it. The problem is too many of us are trying to build empires with peasant mentalities. You can't want to be king, but act like a servant to fear. You can't say you want to lead millions and then be led by your doubts. You can't want to leave a mark and still live with a mindset full of excuses. It's time to level up. It's time to do the hard mental work. You need to make a decision right now to stop thinking like the version of you that's settled. You've got to stop thinking like the version of you that made decisions out of fear, that allowed people to manipulate your worth, that said yes when you wanted to say no, that avoided growth because it was uncomfortable. That version of you has no seat at the table where your legacy is being built. The new version of you, the one who thinks like a builder, a creator, a visionary, a conqueror, that's who's invited. That's who's needed. And it's that mindset that will push you when your body's tired. It's that mindset that will help you bounce back from failure. It's that mindset that will silence every voice that says you can't. Do you understand the power of thinking different? Steve Jobs built Apple not because he had more tools, but because he thought different. Nelson Mandela led a revolution because he thought different. Oprah changed television because she thought different. Muhammad Ali became the greatest because he thought different. They were humans just like you, but they unlocked something in their minds. They didn't let the limits set by others define their path. They trained their minds to believe in what wasn't yet visible. You must do the same. If your mind can go there, your life will eventually follow. That's why the scripture says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Your money, not your money. Not your friends, not your status, your mind. Start asking yourself better questions. Not, why is this happening to me? But what can I learn from this? Not, why isn't it working? But what am I being prepared for? Change your questions and you'll change your life. When you think better, you do better. When you do better, you get better results. And when your results improve, your legacy begins to form. But it starts in the mind. You can't take shortcuts with your mindset. You can't skip this process. Legacy is not inherited. It's constructed with vision and guarded with discipline. And your mindset is the arc. So here's your challenge. Every day, find one thought that is limiting you and replace it. If you think I'm not enough, change it to I'm becoming more every day. If you think I failed too much, change it to every failure is fuel for my comeback. If you think it's too late, change it to just getting started. Your words shape your world. Speak power. Speak victory. Even if you don't see it yet, speak it. Well, faith is speaking what you believe until it becomes what you see. That's how legacies are built, one belief at a time. You want to break limits? Start by breaking the mental chains. You want to build legacy? Start by building the foundation in your mind. It doesn't start with money, followers, or applause. It starts in silence, in private, in struggle. with a thought that says, I'm going to make it. And every time you choose to believe in yourself, every time you choose to think higher, every time you replace fear with faith, your next level, your breakthrough, your legacy, it's all waiting on one thing, your mindset. You weren't born to be average. You weren't made to live in the shadows of your potential. Every single one of us has something inside that's screaming to come out. But the problem is, most of us are living under limits we created or accepted. It's time to break them. See, most of the limits in your life aren't real. They're imagined. They're the stories you've been telling yourself. I'm too young. I'm too old. I didn't come from the right family. I didn't go to the right school. Let me tell you something. Those aren't facts. They're excuses. You've got to stop living like the ceiling above you is permanent. It's not. You can break through it, but it starts with a mindset shift. When I was homeless, when I was high school dropout, everybody looked at me like I was done, but I refused to let the limits they placed on me define me. I said, I might be broke, but I ain't broken. I got up, I studied, I got my JED, I went to college, I got my PhD, because I stopped letting fear, doubt, and other people's opinions be the walls around me. Listen, your life is a reflection of what you're willing to fight for. You can't just want it. You've got to grind for it. You've got to hurt for it. You've got to sacrifice for it. You got to break out of what's comfortable and familiar. Limits live in comfort. Break comfort. Break limits. You're not supposed to fit in. You're supposed to stand out. And that means doing what most people won't, waking up earlier, staying focused longer, working harder, not just for money, not just for fame, but for legacy, for freedom, for purpose. And don't get it twisted. Breaking limits doesn't mean it won't hurt. It will. But that pain is necessary. It's the price of growth. It's the sign that you're stretching. So when it hurts, good, that means you're growing. That means you're breaking something that was never meant to contain you. So today, make the decision. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more blaming, no more blaming. It's on you now. You either break your limits or they'll break you. Rise up, break free, break limits. Your limits are not physical. They're mental. Change your mindset and you change your life. That's the truth that most people will never come to terms with, because it's easier to believe that our limitations are external. It's easier to believe that the reason we haven't succeeded is because we don't have the right connections, the right resources, the right background. But the truth is far more confronting. Most of the time, the only thing standing between us and the life we dream of is the way we think. You have to understand something deep. Your body, your circumstances, your background, none of those things are your true limitation. Your mindset is. And once you understand that, you stop looking for excuses and start looking for ways. You stop seeing walls and you stop seeing walls and you start seeing ladder. The problem isn't that you can't. It's that you convince yourself you can't. You bought into a narrative that someone else created for you, or worse, that you created for yourself. You've been rehearsing defeat in your mind before you even gave yourself a chance to compete. You've been telling yourself that success is for them, not for you. That greatness is reserved, but it's not. It's earned. It's forged in the fire of belief and persevering. There are people in the world who have far less than you, yet they're doing far more. Why? Because they don't let what they don't have stop them. They don't let the fact that they weren't born into wealth or given a perfect start determine where they finish. They understand something crucial. The power is in their perspective. If you see obstacles, you'll be stopped. But if you see opportunity, you'll move forward. Let me take you back to when I had nothing. No money, no shelter. I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans. If you looked at my life from the outside, you would have thought it was over. Most people did. But inside me, something was alive. Something was burning. And that fire came from a shift in my mindset. I started believing that I could change my situation. I started believing that I was worthy of more. I started believing that my past didn't define my future. And the moment I changed my mind, my life began to change. You gotta stop feeding your doubts. You gotta stop giving airtime to your fears. Your brain will believe whatever story you keep telling it. If you keep repeating, I'm not good enough, your mind will go to work proving that statement right. But if you start saying, I'm capable, I'm strong, I'm ready, your mind will start looking for evidence to support that belief too. Your mind is like soil. Whatever you plant, it will grow. Plant fear, grow fear. Plant belief, grow success. I need you to realize that mental limits are illusions. They're prisons with invisible walls. You walk around thinking you can't go any further, but the truth is, you've never tested the edge. You've never pushed to your full capacity. And you know why? Because somewhere along the line, someone told you to stay realistic, to play it safe, to not dream too big. And you listen. But what if I told you that those people weren't protecting you? They were projecting their own fears onto you. What if I told you that being realistic is the fastest way to live an average life? You got to break out of the box they put you in. You got to stop thinking small. Small thinking produces small results. You want a big life. You need big faith, big action, and big commitment. You've got to get radical about your belief in yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you don't believe in you, nobody else will. You can't borrow confidence. You have to build it brick by brick, decision by decision, grind by grind. Every champion, every game changer, every legend you admire, they weren't born without limits. They were just willing to go beyond them. They trained their minds to push further. They trained their minds to endure longer. They trained their minds to see possibilities when others saw dead ends. That kind of mindset doesn't just happen. It's built. And you build it by showing up, even when you don't feel like it. By doing the work, even when you're scared. By bidding on yourself, even when nobody else does. You've got to understand, the moment you say, I can't, you've already lost. But when you say, I will, you ignite something powerful. When you say, I must, you trigger action. And that action compounds. One decision leads to another. One small win leads to a bigger one. Before you know it, you're living in a reality that once seemed impossible, all because you had the courage to change your mind. Stop blaming your environment. Stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. Stop thinking success is for other people. You've got to claim it. You've got to own it. You've got to own it. And it starts with your mind. The battlefield is not out there. It's in here, in your head, in your heart, in your habits. That's where the war is won or lost. The next time you feel fear, remind yourself. Fear is just faith pointing in the wrong direction. Fear is believing the worst case scenario. But what if you started believing in the best case scenario? What if you started imagining what could go right instead of what could go wrong? That's a mental shift. That's breaking limits. When you face resistance, and you will, understand that it's not a stop sign, it's a signal. It's telling you you're getting close to your edge. Don't retreat. Don't fold. Press in. That resistance is the birthplace of strength. It's the gym of the mind. Every time you push through, you level up. Every time you silence that voice telling you to quit, you build discipline. And that discipline will take you further than any talent ever could. So today, I dare you to think bigger. I dare you to challenge the voice in your head that says, I'm not you. I dare you to dream so big it scares you. Then I dare you to take action like you believe is possible, because it is. You're more than capable. You're more than enough. But nothing will change until your mind changes. You want to break limits? Start by breaking the lie that you can't. Start by breaking the habit of doubt. Start by breaking the cycle of average. Don't wait for someone to come save you. You are the rescue. You are the change. You are the fire. You are the one who can rewrite your story. And it all starts when you stop believing the lies and start standing on truth. The truth that you are powerful, that you are chosen, and that the only thing stopping you is you. Break your mindset, and you break every limit in your path. Legacy requires sacrifice. If you want to break limits, you must be willing to give up average for extraordinary. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. Everybody wants to live a life that's remembered. Everybody wants to be respected, to leave a mark, to be the one their family talks about for generations. But not everybody is willing to do what it takes. Not everybody is willing to pay the price. Because legacy doesn't come with comfort. Legacy is expensive. The currency is sacrifice. See, the world is full of people who started with good intentions. They had dreams, big goals, even some momentum. But when it came time to give something up, when it came time to let go of the habits that held them back, the relationships that distracted them, the laziness that crept in, they folded. They stayed where it was safe, where it was easy. And as a result, they settled for a life far below what they were capable of. You can't have both average and legacy. They don't live in the same neighborhood. They don't speak the same language. Average says, do enough to get by. Legacy says, do whatever it takes. Average says, take the weekend off. Legacy says, build while they sleep. Average wants applause right now. Legacy wants impact that lasts beyond the applause. The problem is, we live in a culture that celebrates shortcuts. Everybody wants to go viral, to get rich quick, to be famous overnight. But real legacy is never built overnight. It's built over years, through sweat, through failure, through long nights and early mornings. It's built when nobody's watching. It's built when you're the only one clapping for yourself. When you're exhausted, when you feel alone, when nothing's working and you keep going anyway. That's sacrifice. That's what separates the ones who talk from the ones who live it. You say you want to break limits, then be ready to break some habits. Be ready to say no when everybody else is saying yes. Be ready to walk away from what's comfortable. Legacy doesn't come to those who are addicted to comfort. It comes to those who are committed to growth. Growth hurts. It requires pruning. It requires discipline. It requires making decisions today that won't pay off until years from now. And that's where most people give up, because they want immediate results. But legacy isn't immediate. Legacy is long term. Legacy is playing the long game. It's making moves your kids will benefit from. It's waking up every day and saying, what I do today matters. Not just for me, but for those coming after me. That kind of mindset, it demands a different level of sacrifice. Look around at the people you admire. The ones who changed the world, the ones whose names are still mentioned long after they're gone. None of them got there by doing what was easy. They all paid a price. Some paid with time, some with tears, some with rejection, some with isolation, but they all paid. And the reason their names live on is because they were willing to sacrifice what most people would. You gotta understand, your comfort zone is the enemy of your legacy. As long as you stay where it's comfortable, you'll never tap into the highest version of yourself. You'll keep settling for potential instead of performance. You'll keep dreaming instead of building. Sacrifice is the bridge between what you want, and what you're willing to give up for it. You might have to cut off distraction. You might have to distance yourself from people who don't get your vision. You might have to turn off the TV, close the apps, and use that time to invest in your craft, your mind, your goals. That's not punishment. That's preparation. That's how you position yourself for greatness. Because the people who are remembered are the ones who are willing to be different while everyone else blended in. Let's get real. Everybody wants success until they see what it costs. But the ones who leave a legacy are the ones who keep going even when the cost feels high. They stay in the gym when their muscles burn. They stay in the classroom when their eyes are tired. They stay in the studio when no one's listening. They stay on their grind when nothing seems to be working, because they understand that sacrifice today creates freedom tomorrow. Don't let your desire for ease rob you of your destiny. Don't let fear of missing out make you miss your calling. You were created for more than average. You were born with something inside you that's meant to shift the world. But you'll never access it if you keep choosing what's easy over what's necessary. You want to break limits? Then stop asking what's comfortable and start asking what's required. Stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating discipline. Stop chasing applause and start chasing purpose. Purpose doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always look glamorous, but it always leads to legacy if you're willing to pay the price. People will question you. People will misunderstand you. They'll ask why you work so hard, why you stay focused, why you don't just relax a little. But that's because they don't see what you see. They don't know what you're building. They don't understand that while they're living for the weekend, you're living for impact. And when that moment finally comes, when the breakthrough hits, when the dream becomes reality, when your life begins to echo beyond your years, they'll say, oh, you're lucky. But you'll know the truth. It wasn't luck. It was sacrifice. Legacy doesn't care how you feel. It cares how you finish. It cares that you stayed the course when everyone else quit. It cares that you remain committed when everything in you wanted to walk away. It cares that you gave your best, not just when it was easy, but especially when it was hard. The world doesn't need more people who blend in. It needs more people who are willing to be bold, to be disciplined, to stand for something. even if it costs them everything. That kind of person, that's a legacy maker. That's a limit breaker. So now it's your turn. What are you willing to give up so the world can remember you? What are you willing to endure so your name doesn't fade when you're gone? What are you willing to sacrifice so the next generation doesn't have to start from where you did? You can't buy legacy. Woman, you earn it through sacrifice, through consistency, through vision. You build it by showing up day after day after day, even when the results don't come as fast as you want. You keep building brick by brick, trusting that every piece matters, even the ones no one else sees. In the end, your life will be a story. The question is, will it be a story worth telling? Will it be a story that inspires others to push further, dig deeper, lie better? If that's what you want, you already know what it's going to take. It's time to give up average. It's time to embrace extraordinary, and that means sacrifice, not someday, not later. Now, because legacy isn't built in the future, it's built in the present by those who are willing to break limits and pay the price. So step up, sacrifice the ordinary, and go build the extraordinary. As we bring this message to a close, I want you to understand something at the deepest level. Gratitude is not just a nice thought. It is the very foundation of lasting success. You can have all the talent in the world. You can have all the opportunities laid out in front of you. But if you are not grounded in gratitude, if you don't appreciate where you are, what you have, and who helped you along the way, then success will feel empty. Gratitude is what makes success meaningful. Gratitude is what allows you to not only climb the mountain, but also to enjoy the view once you get there. When you wake up every morning and the first thought you have is a thank you, you put yourself in alignment with something greater than yourself. You stop living with entitlement, expecting the world to hand you something. And instead, you start living with appreciation, knowing that every step you take, every opportunity you're given, and every lesson you learn is a gift. Gratitude shifts the way you see the world. Where others complain, you give thanks. Where others see problems, you see possibilities. Where others get discouraged, you find strength because gratitude has already prepared your heart to handle adversity with a different attitude. Think about it. Every single one of us has been through something difficult. Life has thrown pain, setbacks, disappointments, and losses our way. Gratitude doesn't erase those things, but it transforms them. Gratitude doesn't deny your struggles, but it allows you to say, even in this, I can find a reason to keep going. Even in this, I can grow. Even in this, I can give thanks for the lesson it's teaching me. That's how gratitude fuels success. Keeps you from quitting when things get hard because you are too focused on appreciating the journey to give up. You see, people who are ungrateful live in constant lack. Nothing is ever enough. They reach milestones and immediately dismiss them because they're already chasing the next thing. They win, but they don't feel fulfilled. They accomplish goals, but they still feel empty. But grateful people, they can take a small victory and celebrate it like it's the biggest moment of their life. They can find joy in the little things, and that joy keeps them energized for the big things. Gratitude gives you endurance. Gratitude gives you strength to keep climbing when others burn out. Gratitude gives you resilience when the storm comes because you never stop seeing the blessings even when the world tries to blind you with negativity. And there's the truth. Gratitude is contagious. When you live with gratitude, the people around you feel it. Your energy lifts them up. Your energy lifts them up. Your perspective inspires them. You start creating an atmosphere where success isn't just about you, but about the community you're building. Grateful leaders create teams that thrive. Grateful parents raise children who value life. Grateful students turn into successful professionals because they don't take their opportunities for granted. Gratitude is not only fuel for personal success, it's fuel for collective success. It builds relationship, it builds trust, it builds unity, and it multiplies growth in ways selfish ambition never could. I know some of you might be thinking, oh, but you don't know what I've been through. You don't know the pain I've experienced. You don't know the losses I've suffered. And you're right. I don't know your exact story. But what I do know is that gratitude is not about ignoring your pain. It's about refusing to let your pain have the final word. Gratitude is about choosing to say, yes, I went through it. Yes, it hurt me. Yes, it tried to break me, but I'm still here. I still have breath in my body. I still have opportunities in front of me. I still have the ability to fight to grow, and to win. That's gratitude, and that's why it fuels success. So my challenge to you is simple, but powerful. Don't wait until you will make it to start being grateful. Don't wait until the bank account is full. Don't wait until you get the promotion. Don't wait until the world finally recognizes you. Start today. Start with the small thing. Start with the small things. Start with the fact that you woke up this morning. Start with the people who support you. Start with the progress you've already made. Because when you build the habit of gratitude, you won't just reach success. You'll sustain it, you'll enjoy it, and you'll multiply it. Gratitude is the fuel of success because it teaches you that every step matters, every lesson matters, every person who helped you matters. Gratitude keeps you humble in victory and strong in defeat. Gratitude keeps you balanced when the world tries to pull you in 100 directions. Gratitude keeps your heart in the right place so that when you finally achieve your dreams, you don't lose yourself in the process. So, as you leave here today, I don't just want you to think about being successful. I want you to think about being grateful. Because if you can master gratitude, success will follow. Maybe not overnight, maybe not exactly how you pictured it, but it will come. And when it comes, you'll be ready to not just have it, but to cherish it, to honor it, and to use it to impact others. That's the kind of success that lasts. That's the kind of success that leaves a legacy. Remember this, gratitude is not weakness. Gratitude is strength. Gratitude is not passive. Gratitude is powerful. Gratitude is not about settling. Gratitude is about positioning yourself for even greater growth. If you make gratitude your daily practice, you'll find that the fuel you've been looking for to push through the hard days, to overcome the obstacles, to keep fighting for your dreams, it's been inside you all along. Success without gratitude is empty. Success with gratitude is abundant, fulfilling, and unstoppable. And I believe that every single one of you is capable of that kind of success. So go out there, live with gratitude, and watch how it transforms your life.